Hello, good afternoon. All the clocks are going off, cuckoo and grandfather clock. I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, where I like to talk about how I've lost 97.4 pounds since starting the ketogenic protocol, how you may be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life like I did. If anyone is here, if you could let me know that you can see and hear me, it's always a question, but I appreciate it. And I'm just going to dive on in. I did a live stream just about a year ago with kind of the same title, How Keto Changed My Life. And it occurs to me as I reflect, which I do a lot of, that my life continues to change. And that's one of the biggest changes. I'll give you a quick reminder of my story. I was morbidly obese, perfectly round. I was very fat for 3 decades, from my mid-20s until my mid-50s. I'd given up on losing weight. I just didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes, which I knew was the next step. By the way, no one is saying anything, so can anyone hear me? Okay, usually there's a lot of chatter going on. Technology, can be vexing. Anyway. Oh, good. Hey, thank you, Dory, for letting me know. Good. Awesome. So I'd given up on losing weight. I didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. I Googled how to not take insulin for type 2 diabetes. I came across the white coat video of Dr. Eric Westman from Duke University. And that changed my life. As I have said to him, in front of him, in front of audiences, while he was in the audience, I don't know whether it was his calm demeanor or his boyish good looks, but his message landed with me that day. So I just laid off the carbs. And the protocol is keep your carbohydrate intake from 20 grams or fewer a day, total carbs, not net. If it's not on page 4, link below, don't eat it. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop when you're satiated. That's it. So I thought, well, I'll just lay off the carbs. So the next time I ate, and this was, I think, on a Wednesday, January 8th, 2014. It was not the beginning of the new year. It was not a Monday. It was not after I passed a birthday milestone. It wasn't after attending a wedding. I started on like a Wednesday after I saw the video. I just laid off the carbs. He is handsome, right, Tony? It might just be the two of us, Tony. That's cool too. We'll just hang out together. What was I going to say? Okay, so I laid off the carbs. And too long didn't read. My blood sugar is now pristine. My average is like 72. My blood pressure is perfect. My HDL is quite high, and my triglyceride is quite low. HDL is like 98, and my triglyceride is 54, I think, or 45 or 50. It's very low. So I'm very healthy. So that's one way that keto changed my life. I went from being on the verge of everything bad to being quite healthy and fit. I'm fit. And I don't even have that much hanging stuff, which I'm pretty happy about. So that was the immediate, the most obvious change was I lost weight. That was obvious to other people. I didn't lose very quickly. I lost gradually and normally. Okay, I chose 5 people. This is very unusual. I usually have like 120 people, but maybe something's going on in the world. Even more interesting than my YouTube live streams. Shocking. So that was an obvious change. I lost weight. And I felt better for sure. but it really changed me to the core. Now, I don't know where I would have been or what my life would have been like if I had never put on so much weight. But I know that I was unhappy inside that body. I am all for body positivity. And people who are comfortable, no matter what their size, wonderful. I was not one of those people. I did not embrace my fat self. I was embarrassed. I was physically uncomfortable. I was somewhat demoralized. I'm a very clever person, and I usually catch on to things pretty well, and I can handle things pretty well, and I have a great life, loving husband. My now grown 3 children are smart, high functioning, good members of society, independent. So, check that mark off. They did a good job there. But I was unhappy in my own brain. Had a good career. My intellect outweighed, one might say, my physical appearance. But let's not kid ourselves. I'm sure I was judged on the way I looked, and I knew that. And it worked on me. It just chiseled away at me, at the person I had the potential to be. Gregarious, clever, happy, optimistic. That kind of morphed over time into someone who wasn't quite sure that they wanted to continue going on, if you get my point. That was rough. And the ketogenic protocol, because it allowed me to feel better physically, get my health in order to the point where I'm very confident about my health, which is the opposite of what I was before. I was dreading whatever next thing was going to happen with me health-wise. I feel better in space. I take up less of it. I don't feel like I stick out like a sore thumb or like a giant beanbag chair or something. I feel normal. And I felt abnormal before. So that changed my life. Well, another very obvious thing is I left my former career, a very nice, lucrative one, because I found that I was very inspired. When people would ask me what I was doing, I found that I was inspired to share it. Now, I'm not a proselytizer. If nobody asks, I don't say. But I thought that's very gratifying. And that, if someone else can be helped by my story, then good. If someone else finds themselves sitting in their robe, looking out their patio door, thinking, is this all there is? Is this what I have to look forward to for the next 25, 30, 35, 40 years? Is feeling worse and worse every year? Is this what my life is now? Because that's pretty much where I was that day, January 8th, 2014. If someone else can go from that frame of mind to the frame of mind I have now, which is like, I can't wait to see what happens next in my life. I went from being disinterested in my own life to, I wonder what's going to happen next. If my story can be mirrored by one other person, then that's worth doing. So that was another way keto changed my life. I mean, if someone had told me that I would be spending pretty much 7 days a week, full time in one capacity or another, talking about my weight, which was a topic that never came up. My family knew better. It was the third rail. You don't talk about mama's weight at all. It was like, if we don't talk about it, I'm not fat. Talk about cognitive dissonance. But so that I would be talking about my weight. I don't share my weight. Let me put it this way. I don't share my weight, but talking about weight and losing weight and getting fit and all this other stuff. Someone had said that would be ridiculous. And add to it, and FYI, you're going to do it on camera. No, that's wrong. Camera? No. But it changed my life. So how does it continue to change my life? Because I've been doing this for a minute now. I left my former career about 2 years ago, fully 100% left it. There's still some trailing stuff, but I'm pretty much out of it. It continues to change my life because what I have found, just the same way that bit by bit, my former youthful, happy, confident, gregarious, optimistic self was just kind of laden down layer by layer by layer to the point where I didn't even recognize myself as a person. Those layers continue to be lifted. And I continue to emerge. And I don't even know that it's reemerge, because now I'm a lot smarter and wiser than I was back in my 20s, right? I mean, I hope so. So I continue to make changes in my personal life, doing things that I, for one thing, had long since told myself, I just can't do that, or I'm not disciplined enough for that, or that's meant for somebody younger than I, or it's too late, or no, screw that. Sorry. Common language. To heck with that. No, it's not too late. And I'm dipping my toe into things that I never thought I would do. They have nothing to do with keto. They have to do with me and my life. And, I've been married for 40 years. That continues to evolve, believe it or not. I'm a much happier person than I was, and I know that must make me a lot more fun to be around. I know I enjoy my company more than I used to. The message I want to give is that if you are stuck somewhere and thinking you are stuck somewhere, that you've gone from feeling like you're treading water to thinking you're standing in quicksand, to thinking that your feet are encased in concrete and you'll never be able to extricate yourself from wherever you are inside your brain. I'm here to tell you that if I can do this, you can do this. Technically, I changed my life, right? Through my behavior. And this is another thing that I've come to realize. I'm stronger than a cookie. How many of us have said, well, I'm just defenseless against, and then fill in the blank? It could be Godiva chocolate. It could be bloomin' onions. I'm defenseless against tortilla chips. I used to tell myself I could not go the rest of my life without eating tortilla chips. I literally would say that out loud. I can't go the rest of my life without eating tortilla chips. How illogical is that? Right? I'm not being held hostage with a gun to my head saying, eat the tortilla chips or, boom. No, I would choose to pick up the tortilla chips and eat them. Basket after basket or bag after bag. Same thing with pizza. I've come to realize that I'm stronger than I gave myself credit for. I used to think I was strong as nails. And then the layering. Then the weighing down of the not feeling well and not being happy with myself and getting nasty looks from other people, being told outright, insults, just insulting comments. Not that often, but some people are jerks. And then I started to make, the comments myself to beat them to the punch. I would make sure that nobody thought I looked good. Please do not let anyone think that I think at this cocktail party that I think I look good. I would make self-deprecating remarks. I stopped doing that. It's another thing that has changed. One thing, I don't feel like deprecating myself. I feel good about myself. Let me say that again. I feel good about myself. And that's the greatest change of all. Because it colors everything else I do. Everything. Every hour of every day is impacted by how I feel about myself. And when you're happy with yourself, it makes the rest of whatever comes our way, because life is coming at us whether we like it or not. It colors the way we deal with it. You don't have to go too far to feel like you're in okay, excuse me. Heather Silva said, did you forget to post the link on YouTube? YouTube does that. Something's going on because, like I said, I usually have 150, 160 people, but that's cool. I mean, YouTube should send out notifications, but YouTube can be really funny. It has its moments. I'm not worried about it. The message is the message, whether it's 6 of us or 12 of us or 2,000 of us or just me talking to myself. The message is the same. Feel better about yourself and re-enter your life. How do you feel better about yourself? For one thing, taking control of your behavior. Eating is a behavior. Sorry to say. Eating is a behavior. People like to throw around the word addiction or addict. Let's not get too comfortable with that. Eating is a behavior. And we can control it. That doesn't mean it's easy, but it is doable. When we realize that we are more in control than we think, it's very empowering. When you realize you're stronger than a cookie. Okay, I'm gonna share this. A couple of quick things. There, couple of patrons might be here, so hello, thank you. I do my Patreon private support group. I do about 20 video snippets a month. I do a handful of patron-only video live streams via Crowdcast, and I do a handful of patron-only video group sessions via Zoom. Plus, I send out cards, which I'd like to design. I just designed this. Now, if you can read it, might be in reverse. It reads, it's not a treat, it's a trap. And then it's the theater masks, the happy one and the sad one. And I send out about every couple of months, I send out different cards. Going to behavior. I employ a habit tracker. I do it. I'm a spreadsheet person, so I have it on a spreadsheet. Lots of colors and things. But I made this little book that's full of habit trackers and sayings and quotes and logs and mood trackers and inspiration and coloring pages. So that whatever works, if writing lists works for you, if tracking your habits, if logging what you do every day, if keeping a diary works for you, this is Go Keto with Casey's 12-month record book. The spiral one you get at my blog, and it's a couple bucks more expensive, and it'll take a while to get, a little bit longer to get to you. Perfect bound one you can get at Amazon, and you can see all that at my blog. But it's behavior. We are not weaker than than spicy fries. French bread has no power over us. M&Ms are not medicinal. I used to say they were. I would joke, say they're medicinal, and they even come in pill form. It was so funny, except I was morbidly obese. So it wasn't so funny. So I'm going to leave that with you guys. Just this is a very highly self-oriented one today, and I try not to be like that so much. But all I can do is describe my experiences and my understanding of the process and share with you my perspective. And I continue to feel like every couple of months or every quarter or something, things are changing with me for the better. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that my life is, not my life is better. I've always had a good life. And I'm the luckiest person you're ever going to meet. Just hands down. If we meet in person, rub my head and maybe some of the luck will go off onto you. But I was not happy inside my brain with myself. Who would have ever thought that I'd be happier at this stage of life than I was in my 30s, 40s? Certainly not me. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I really appreciate you guys showing up. I don't know what happened. I'm gonna put it at the feet of YouTube. Although, you know what? We've got some time. I'm going to read some comments. So thank you to those of you who are here. Let me make my type bigger because, eyes. Jennifer writes, "Good morning, Casey. Your video isn't showing up in my usual YouTube subscription feed. Only found it through Patreon. Maybe the reason for the lower viewership. You know what? I wonder if daylight saving time, if some computer somewhere thinks we've already started it, which we haven't. You know what? I don't love daylight saving time. I just feel I like to get up early and get started early. And with daylight saving time, I feel like the day's half over before I get out of bed. Can't get this live from YouTube. Had to get here from Facebook. That's so strange, isn't it? Good afternoon. This didn't come through. Okay, Facebook. Like I said, did you forget to post the link on YouTube? I don't post it. I just create the stream, and it's there. Debbie, hey Debbie, had a heck of a time finding this video. Then I had no sound. Ugh, had to reboot. Heather Silver writes, when I feel stressed and feel like I need food to calm me down, I ask myself out loud why I feel stressed. Once I understand why I feel stressed, I tell myself that eating won't fix it. Bingo! If hunger is not the problem, food is not the solution. N'est-ce pas? Is that not correct? But we accept these as truths. Well, I use food to cope. No, I use food to not cope. By definition, using food to not cope. Because if you're coping, you'd be dealing with the situation. And not, up to your elbows in Cheetos. You'd be dealing with the situation. You'd be coping. Or, food is my friend. No, come on, it's food. If food is your friend, you need to get out more. And I'm saying this because I was look at my before photos at my blog. I was fat. And I didn't get that way by not telling myself all the things that I have learned to untell myself. Okay, Bonnie writes, finally was able to access through the Facebook group link. That's so strange. Did start watching on Patreon, so didn't miss the great talk. Thank you, Bonnie. Oh, and I'm just going to post this before I forget. Speaking of having fun, Wednesday Wine Day with Amy Berger and me. Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Ugh, it's going to be even. So, anywho, that link is there. You can register for that through Crowdcast. Does anyone have a question or a comment or feedback? We do have a little bit of time. Is anybody else signed up besides me? Not yet, but there's always a crush at the end. A rush too. For those of you who don't know, it's a open thing. Amy and I are on screen. There's no agenda. You can share your story, crack wise jokes, find out stuff. It's very open, and you don't have to be drinking wine, but you're certainly welcome to. Bonnie writes, if I'm home from work on time, I will see you then. Excellent. Okay, well, a small group certainly does make for a more intimate feel here. And like I said, to me, the message is important, not the audience. I'll never be the biggest channel or have the most followers or the most whatever you want to call it. I'm not really that interested in that. As Talmud reads, if you save one soul, you're said to have saved the world. I don't kid myself into thinking that I'm saving souls. But if I can save one person, male, female, trans, young, very young, older, middle-aged, from feeling the way I felt, then my work here is done. And all you have to do is lay off the carbs. That's all it is. You just lay off the carbs. I'm going to repeat the protocol. Keep your carbohydrate intake to 20 grams or fewer a day. Total, not net. Some people ask, what is total? What's the difference between total carbs and net carbs? Net carbs just means eating more carbs. If it's not on page 4, link below, don't eat it, but you don't even need a food list. Fatty sources of protein. Eat the fat that comes with the protein. Some non-starchy vegetables if you wish, not unlimited. They're limited to about a cup a day of non-starchy vegetables and 2 cups a day of leafy greens. Maximum, not minimum. But you don't need them at all. I go days without eating vegetables, not because I'm anti-vegetable. I love vegetable. If I could eat anything I wanted, I would eat all the time. But I can't. Well, I can. I have permission to. No one's going to say boo to me. But why would I do that? And go back to feeling the way I felt, which felt like not wanting to go on, which is a dark place to be. Anyway, don't eat if you're not hungry. That's the hardest part. Because we have to unlearn some habits. And stop eating when you're satiated. Thank you very much, Tony. You're most kind. And Tony Burton writes, I'm in that place right now, ready to do the work. The good thing is, this is people would tell me, oh my gosh, you've lost so much weight. That must have been so hard. And I say, I'd like to take the credit. It's the easiest thing I've ever done. No kidding. I just laid off the carbs. When I got my mind to that point where I realized I am sick. And the food I'm eating is making me that way. It's not, I'm not leading what others would call high-risk behavior. Except that I was eating food that made me sick. So that's pretty risky. So it's the easiest thing I've ever done. And then, believe it or not, I know there's skeptics out there. After a while, you don't even want the other food. Again, if I could eat anything I want with no ill effects, not screwing up my blood work, not jacking up my blood pressure, not having my body fill up with water and fat, I'd be all over it. But I'm like most people, can't do that. Do what works for you. Don't make it more complicated. That's one of the quotes in here, by the way. One of the quotes. I really am proud of some of these quotes. Let me see if I can find it. And they're from all sorts of people. Oh, here's a good one. Here's a good quote. This is like a fireside chat, isn't it? Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Thomas Edison. What's another one? Oh, life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. Confucius. Heather Silver writes, I'm never hungry. I eat for fuel. Food doesn't run my life anymore. Food is not the boss of me. That was one of the biggest changes. You can get a sticker at my Teespring store that says that. Food is not the boss of me. How liberating is that? All right, friends. Grandmother Clock and Cuckoo just chimed. Some people have missed Cuckoo. Cuckoo was in the repair shop for a long time. And now she's back. She's a little different. And there's a whole story. I did a snippet about Cuckoo and Keto for patrons. But I might write something about that. It's a metaphor. All right. Thanks. I don't know what happened. Thank you for showing up. YouTube has issues with notifications, but hopefully people can see this if they're interested on the replay. So thanks a lot. And I will see you next time. TTFN, writes Jennifer Hackett. Toodaloo, Caribou. See you next time.